This is episode 349 of Super League Pod, and this week we believe in magic as we recap a great time in Newcastle for the annual Super League festival that is the Magic Weekend. The action on and off the field in the Toon dominates the show this week, unsurprisingly, helped along by your fan reviews and loads of talking points. There's a special French flair to some of your fan reviews, as well as a new French delicacy offers up that I will not be trying. Cards, controversies and ice creams. Strap in, because Newcastle had it all. Hello listeners, welcome along to episode 349. It is the Magic Weekend recap show. David, do you believe in magic, David?
I absolutely believe in magic this year, Mark. Last year I didn't believe in magic. This year I do believe in magic.
Fair enough. Two equally magical finishes in St Helens' matches, but going the opposite way in two successive Magic Weekends. Before we get into anything, do you want to tell us about our sponsor?
I would love to, particularly after being with Rob this weekend. Super League Pod is supported by Rob's Megastore. Rob's Megastore stocks a wide variety of toys, stationery, arts and craft ideas, pet accessories, books, and of course Rugby League birthday cards. Search Rob's Megastore on eBay or find the link in our episode blog post on superleaguepod.com. SLP listeners can use the code SLP10, that's SLP10 at checkout, to get 10% off any orders over £5, or enter SLP discount and give your 10% towards funding SLP's running costs instead, which would be very welcome.
Yeah, thanks to Rob's Megastore for the continued support. Sorry, my throat's still a bit gone from a long weekend. So this week, what we got on the show, it's Magic Recap. It's that simple, isn't it? I didn't see anything else this weekend from anything else around the world of Rugby League. So we will cover bits of news and results and stuff from the rest of the game, but there will be some things we miss along the way as well from outside of the Super League this week. But yeah, there's loads to talk about from Magic Weekend, so I guess we pretty much best get to it, David. I mean,
let's do that.
We're probably going to say some things that people disagree with this week, I think, because there was lots of discussion points out of the weekend. We're going to maybe stumble across some talking points as well, so people might want to get in touch with us on what we talk about this week. So if they do want to get in touch with us about any controversial or talking points, let's tell them how they can, David.
Yeah, let's do that. To get involved, you can find us on social media. It's at Super League Pod on Twitter and Instagram, or facebook.com/superleague/Super League Pod.
Shit, do you know what?
You can email superleaguepod at gmail. Sorry, go on.
Completely neglected Instagram this weekend.
Oh no, an Instagram blip.
Yeah.
Oh dear. And I'm not on Instagram, so I can't really post hoc help there, I'm afraid.
No.
So you can email on superleaguepod@gmail.com or visit superleaguepod.com to get the info on each episode and the links to the Google Forms for your fan views that we can share and discuss on the show. And don't forget to subscribe in whatever podcast app you're listening to us on, and leave a rating and review if you can. Well, if it's good.
Well, I mean,
no, I'm only kidding.
I suppose that depends on whether your team win or not, or whether we agree with why you think your team lost.
Yeah, yeah, indeed.
All right. We'll get into all of that now as we move into the Super League match reviews. So it was round 18 of Super League, the Magic Weekend. We'll give you the crowds. We'll start with that. Day one was 36,821, which was one of the highest ever single-day crowds at Magic Weekend. And then day two was 25,333, which I think was the lowest ever single-day crowd at Magic Weekend, to give a middle-of-the-road total figure of 62,154, an improvement on last year, and probably quite commendable given the economic climate the the people, particularly people who support rugby league, are affected by the cost of living crisis. Because let's face it, not many rugby league fans have got spare cash floating around.
A lot.
Compared to, I don't know, maybe rugby union fans who've got a trust fund or something. But no, I think commendable crowd, not a bad crowd, not a great crowd. The one thing I would say about the crowd is I think the most people that I could ever recall being in for the first match of Magic Weekend were in for this first match that we're going to talk about, Wakefield-Toulouse. I don't know what you thought of that.
Yeah, I thought it was very well attended, the first game. If you compare it to, for example, the first game of the second day, which was very sparsely attended. I thought it was good, and it got, obviously there's something on this game with promotion and relegation, and it certainly got the weekend off to a good start.
Yes, it did. So it was 20 points to 4 to Wakefield at half time, but it finished 38 points to 26 in favour of Toulouse. What a second half turnaround. Robert Hicks was the referee. The team stats are incomplete because no Lambert Balmas on the stats for Toulouse, even though he was one of their try scorers. So, no comparisons to make there. But do you want to tell us about the individual performers that we do have numbers for?
I will. For the winners, Matty Russell, 2 tries, 161 metres and 3 clean breaks. Latrell Shaunkel, 1 try and 156 metres. Chris Hankinson, 130 metres. Ollie Ashelbot, 2 try assists and 111 metres. And for the losing Wakefield side, Corey Hall, 133 metres. Tinirao Arona, 118 metres. The more sinning than sinned against David Fafita, 1 try, 13 tackle busts, 115 metres and 3 offloads. And Jai Whitbread, 108 metres.
The first fan review comes in from a guy that we got to catch up with a couple of times at Magic Weekend, which was great. We'll probably a bit more on that later on. But at MikeWebb58, he said, "Good start to the weekend, but a spectacular collapse from Trin. Total despondency from their supporters around us."
Yeah, and
that's David, one of the good things in it about Magic Weekend is you get to see, like, I can imagine any fans that were near me during the Wigan game saw all the range of emotions in the last 10 minutes, for example, and we all get to see different fans and how they react to stuff. So Mike picking up on that was it's one of the great points of Magic Weekend, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I was sat with Wakefield fans as well, and very similar response. I'll mention that later. David Hunter says Wakefield looked well on top in the first half, with Toulouse having a case of the dropsies. The Fafita sin bin, though, was crucial. Follow that with Butlers, and Toulouse played against 12 for 20 minutes, and it was bloody hot. Sangar and Balmas had excellent second halves, but we all know it was a closer to 2016 Corey Norman performance that was the difference.
I don't know. I'd say Sangari and Belmas in that first 10-15 minutes there. Them running down that hill from all them kickoffs was the difference, because they got them on the front foot massively, didn't they?
They did. I mean, Wakefield couldn't get the ball for the first sort of 15 minutes of that half.
No. Dr. Hideous said, in the first half, Toulouse gave away too much possession with silly unnecessary offloads, but Fafita's craziness at the end of the first half turned the game around. For both periods when Wakey were down a man, they were hopeless, couldn't attack, and their defence wasn't just stretched, it was non-existent. 10 minutes with a man down is normally worth 6 to 8 points, but Wakey gave away more like 16 in each period. Well, actually, Wakefield conceded 38 points, right? And 28 of those points were conceded when they were a man down. And in the other 10, 6 of them came on the hooter with that giveaway pass for the Guy Armitage try. So,
right at the end.
So it was kind of like what Dave's saying.
Yeah. Joshua's granddad says we will play for 40, then you can have 40. Went cruising until Fatty Fafita decided it's fine to lay all over an opponent again. Man up the French ran riot from then on.
Mark W. said Wakefield had this in the bag and they could have saved their season, but poor discipline threw it away. Toulouse wanted it more and deserved the win.
Pod the Viking said a game of 2 halves. Wakefield had the better of the first with the well-deserved lead before the sin binning of Fafita changed the game. Toulouse took advantage of the one-man advantage and poor discipline from Wakefield to take the lead. Toulouse pushed on after yet another sin binning of Butler to extend their lead. A great game for the neutrals.
Yeah, now Tom Andrews could be stitching me up here because I don't speak French, so we'll see. But Tom Andrews said, "Ne jamais radier le français à la magie." Shame the Wakefield Globetrotters will turn up in East Hull next week. And Scoot said, "Classic game of two hearts." She should know better than getting it in after 10 o'clock, but anyway. I'm glad she got them in anyway, though. She said, "Classic game of two halves. Looked like a walk in the park for Wakey until Fafita decided to give away another 6 again to run the clock down to half-time. Sadly, the ref wasn't so keen on this tactic and he was dispatched to the bin. Second half, Toulouse woke up and made the most of the 20 minutes against 12 men. And the rest, as they say, is history." I mean, shall we start with the Fafita madness and then kind of work each side of it? Because I think fair play to Robert Hicks. It was clearly deliberate foul play, totally unnecessary. But after he gave 6 again, Fafita still stayed on for another 4 or 5 seconds.
Yep.
So it was defiance of the referee's instructions. It was deliberate foul play, and that, is a yellow card.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a problem with it at all. None of the Wakefield fans that were sitting around me, and some of them were, very passionate supporters of the club, none of them thought that Hicks had made the wrong decision. They were really, really incensed with how stupid Fafita was to get himself put in the sin bin.
Yeah, and of course Rob Butler got in the sin bin for his dangerous lift. He got a grade C charge and a 2-match penalty notice for that one. It did especially on the even live it looked dodgy, but you weren't sure how much other people were involved or how much he actually. But on the replay, it looked like he drove him as well as the lift being involved. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I had a good view of that from our side. I was kind of directly behind it, and it was clear. It was a clear yellow card. He shouldn't have any problem with a 2-match notice for that.
No, I mean, in the first half, Toulouse were really poor, like defensively, other than the Ollie Ashall bot try saver on Brad Walker when just after that Miller had kicked his 40-20 midway through the first half. But either side of that, around that, the tries that Wakefield scored were way too easy. It felt like they could score when they got near the line, as easy as they wanted to. It made it more shocking for me when they took the 2 and it went to 14-4. I thought that was the wrong call. When you were on top, you already had an 8-point lead. 10 points isn't that different to 8 points. Try and drive home the advantage, and I think that shows a bit where Willie Poachins is at. He's living in his fears a bit when stuff like that.
Yeah, you might be right. I mean, sometimes these games can switch around, though, and I'm sure he didn't anticipate happening what actually did happen. But sometimes when you're on top, you have to make the most of these things, and I can kind of understand it. I think in retrospect, it's clearly madness. But
even at the time, Jacob Miller wanted to run it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
the message came on to go for 2. Yeah, the other thing about the first half was how shit was Tony Gigo in the first half.
He didn't look like he'd get near the pace of the game at all, did he?
No, that kick out on the full. There was a couple of passes that he threw that hit the floor that went to no one and messed up attacking opportunities. And then whenever there was an issue, whenever something went wrong, a penalty or an error or something, he started berating the other people in his team. He was causing a lot of the problems. He was shocking in the first half. Remember, I went down at half-time to speak to Brian Davies, a Toulouse fan, and he was incensed with Gigo's performance in the first half, and he was not confident at all, despite what he might claim now, that they would come back from it at half-time, even though we had some London fan mates with him that were saying, but we came back from 28-0 down last week.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody would have... You could have probably named your own odds on Toulouse winning that game at half-time. Certainly... I don't think the Wakefield fans were cock-a-hoo, but... none of them around me anyway would have been